Hello, it is Wednesday. It is noon if you're on the West Coast, and it's time for another Courier Live. This is where we get to talk about things that we are doing in Courier, things that we are doing with Courier, and hopefully bring in some of my other coworkers so you can meet them and see what it is that they're doing. Today, I'm joined with Nate, who is our head of customer success, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Thanks, Adrian. Yep, my name is Nate Munger. I'm the head of customer success here at Courier. I've now been with Courier about 2 months. Prior to Courier, I was at a headless CMS company called Contentful and Intercom before that. About 7 years in customer success altogether.
Nice. I wonder if that's why we're using Contentful on our new blog that just went live today.
Did I suggest that? Maybe I did. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think it's true that you never truly leave a place. Yeah. But today we're going to talk about one of the new features that we just released called Brands, and I think Nate is our new subject matter expert about that, and so he's going to take us through that.
Cool. Okay, so let me just introduce Brands and we can dive in. So what are Brands? Brands are I would call a feature set that we released in the last couple of weeks that are designed to help you create a more seamless product experience for your users. Those feature sets include branded email templates that are reusable across all your email notifications, something called snippets, which are reusable pieces of branded code that you can pull into email notifications, and a Brands API. Basically, anything that you can do in the web UI, you can also do through the Brands API. And the reasoning behind this feature set is that the idea of that if you have a well-branded email, it kind of becomes an extension of your application or the service you're providing, especially with notifications, because usually there's a lot of real important information that's coming to the user from your service. And so when those look branded, it feels more seamless and like an extension rather than an interruption or some kind of interjection into their inbox.
Cool, nice. So I guess what kind of companies would be utilizing Brands?
So anyone that uses Courier that sends email notifications can use Brands.
Okay.
We have a default brand, which is basically what your notifications look like. And so you can enable any of your emails to use that default brand. But other scenarios in which you might want to use Brands include white labeling. So if you are sending notifications on behalf of your customers to their end users, you can send those branded with your customer's branding.
Very nice.
Yeah. Or if you have multiple products and each product has a brand, you can do that as well.
Yeah, and I can imagine in the case where you're sending on behalf of your customers, if you have a lot of them, this API is going to come in handy for getting all those brands set up. So exactly. We'll definitely be looking into how all that works as well. So what do we want to do first? Do we want to I know that I gave you access to my demo account and you created a brand. So why don't we go ahead and walk through that? So
sure, let's do that.
Switch over here. So this is my Courier demo account. As you can see, I use it a lot, mostly with SendGrid. I think most of what I send out is turn up notifications. So if any of you were able to see what I did with Chloe Condon of Microsoft Azure, we built a little turn up timer, and this is the account that sends out the messages from Joan at Sal Jones. So let's go on in to get to Brands. That's another item that's inside our notification designer. And so we have a Brands tab right up here. And so you did mention the default brand that everybody has. Mine is very basic. You can see I have R, G, and B as my color palette. But you created this Treva brand for me.
Right.
So what is Treva?
Treva is a fake company that is our demo company. So in the world of what does Courier do and how do we show people how to do it, we use this brand, which is a fictitious travel company.
Great time for travel companies.
Yeah, but they get to send lots of different kinds of notifications, which is the reasoning behind that.
I'm still getting travel emails. It's keeping me waiting for the day I get to travel again, and I'm excited about that. So with brands, it looks like we have a set of brand colors. So you've set up a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary color. And then we have, I can see in the footer section here, we have icons for social. And so that was just as easy as adding that link. If I were to put something like LinkedIn, linkedin.com/blah, it would pop up. Nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so another thing kind of that's important to contextualize with brands is that Courier is all about kind of build once approach, meaning like you only need one API to send all your notifications. You need to build the notification once. It works for all of your users. Same thing with the brand. So now you can take the time to build a brand once, and then you can apply it to any of the notifications that should be branded that way.
Okay. Cool. And so, we basically set up our header, we set up our footer, and then we have snippets. And those are pieces of code that we can pull into a template block. Just another way to kind of make things, I guess, easy to pull in, so you can design it once and use it multiple times, use it across multiple notifications. Cool. And then we can preview it.
Sorry, they accept variables, right? So
that's right.
So that allows you to have a block that you can customize. You can reuse the block, and then you can customize it as well.
Cool. Yeah. So we could just use variables like we're used to. This is handlebar syntax, so that means that we would need to put triple curlies around our variable. But then anything that we pass into the data property of the syn call, that would be used to fill in these variables. So that's very cool. So if you wanted to have some kind of greeting built into the snippet, or using information about, say, birthdays or something, you have that power to kind of build it once and then bring that in. Cool.
Yeah. So if you have, in the white labeling scenario, if you have 100 different clients that you're sending notifications on, and you want to include their tagline, you build a single notification, pull in the single snippet, and it will be customized 100 times when you send it. It will look for the brand that you're telling it to send with, and then it pulls all that brand data in.
Cool. And I think we're going to be doing that today, right?
I believe we are.
All right. So I think that's enough of looking that one that you did. Let's get our hands dirty and actually create a brand. So you've sent me some assets ahead of time for another brand that we'll create using this UI. So tell me a little bit about that. I'm going to go ahead and hit new brand.
Yeah.
And so what's the name of this brand going to be?
I believe this is the Treva Elite brand.
Okay.
And a fictitious elite status for Treva.
Nice. I think all of my elite statuses are slipping. So maybe one day I will be part of the Treva Elite again.
Yeah.
So we're giving it a name. And so this is just so we can see it. But now we have this optional ID. And I'm just going to give it the Treva-Elite as the ID. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is an ID that's going to be used by anybody who's utilizing the API. So if you want to give it a nice ID instead of something being auto-generated.
Right. So when you create your send API call to apply the brand, you say, what's the brand ID? And so if it's human readable, it's always nice.
Yeah. I appreciate it. All right. Okay. So we've made we were sitting here at a new brand, and so what would you say? I guess whenever you create these, how do you tackle it? What do you do first?
If I'm building a new one, so
Yeah.
I just start with, I don't know, I always like to upload something and see something being done quickly. So I grab the logo,
Okay.
add
So
that.
let's hit
It's
the
a simple drag.
logo. I'm dragging it from another screen, so hopefully it's still simple. There we go. Almost there. All right. And then there's a logo href. And so this is where not only can we display a logo, but we can link it to something. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the real website for our fictitious brand.
Yes.
Yeah, don't get too excited. It doesn't, I mean, it goes somewhere, but it doesn't really do anything. So, all right.
We aren't spending our time building a fake company.
Yeah. Cool. So, hey, we're getting somewhere. Now, what do we want to tackle? The header bar?
So the header bar you can set as well. Okay. Just click on that little dropper icon.
Okay. All right. And so it's got a number of suggested colors, but I am going to use the color that you sent me. And so I'm just going to paste in the hex value. And we get this lovely blue color.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Now over on the left, you've got one of those selected already. So you can put that as the primary color.
Okay.
I guess. Yep. Let's call it.
That's actually the primary color that you gave me is this.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think it.
All right.
Our fake marketing department is going to get upset with us.
Hey, branding is important.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Don't you dare use the wrong berry color on the Courier stuff. Okay, and so we got the secondary color, and I'm just going to paste these in, and then our tertiary color.
I've never used the word tertiary so much.
I think I only have in like art class. So
nice.
We have real designs, a real designer helping us out. So this stuff is real.
Yeah.
All right. And just like the non-elite version of the brand, we can throw in our social media. Mm-hmm. So I'll go ahead and paste in Facebook and Twitter.
Yep. And then also you can customize the footer text, which we didn't mention before. So you just click in there and be able to do that.
Okay. And I've got some footer text that you sent over. And so I'll just click that. And I think, oh, okay. That's just another way to add the brands. Click in here.
Yeah, you should be able to just type in. Or maybe not. You have to.
There we go. I think I was clicked somewhere else. All right.
Yeah. So before you leave this, there's another thing that we can point out is that you can use if you open up use custom template, you can do all of this with handlebars.
Right. Oh, so you can use handlebars. So we try to make things easy at Courier. So we have this nice drag and drop interface. But if this format, this template that we have set up doesn't work for you, and you have somebody with the know-how and familiarity with either handlebars, and it also looks like we can use MJML, you can just create the email, the header, and the footer, and paste that in so it looks more to your own style. So if you have templates from somewhere else and you want to bring them in and they work with this, then you can just use it. For what we're going to do, I'm just going to flip that back over.
One other thing to mention, which is new, like the most recent update to brands, you can actually make changes to the CSS in the head. So yeah, we have CSS class names now that can be edited.
Okay, great.
In the style tab there. So that's documented, and maybe we could share that documentation in the kind of like wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe that documentation site is help.trycourier.com.
That is correct. And just if you search for CSS, it'll come up.
Yep. Great. Okay. So we've done all of that. I think the last thing that we have is our tagline snippet.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go to snippets, and we're gonna add a new one. and I'm going to name it tagline. And you also sent me code for this. Thank you very much. Okay, copy that and paste. And so we've got our tagline, which is just a hero div with getting you where you need to go. The tagline for Treva Elite, and that's saved. And the last thing we want to do, and we always want to make sure we do this, is publish our changes. So I'm going to hit that button before I get called out that I haven't done it, or before bad things happen because this is just sitting in draft. Cool. So that wasn't too painful. So we have, if we go back and look, we've got 2 brands, and this is easy to do. If you only have a couple brands, you can just use our UI. But if you are sending on behalf of another company, another customer, or you have multiple products, like a lot of multiple products, you're probably going to want to use this brands API, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So let's take a look at the API, and I'm going to flip over to our API reference docs. So if you go to docs.trycourier.com, this is going to take you to our API reference, and it documents all of our open APIs. And so the one that we're looking at today is this brands API. And you can see we've got routes for get, post, put, delete, get a single brand. And you can actually log into this site using your TryCourier account, and you can pull in, you can click this little button. I'm not going to do it because I don't want it to expose my my API key, but if you click on this, you can select your API key, fill out whatever form fields there are. In this one, there's not very much, and you can hit try it, and it will actually run the command for you. So it's really great for like testing things out really quickly if you don't want to go write your own curl command or something like that. For the ones where you're actually creating a brand, you can see that there's a whole form you can fill out. But for today, again, Nate was nice enough to give me all this stuff ahead of time. And so I wrote some Python scripts because one of the many SDKs that we have is Python. And we're seeing an uptick in people using Python, and I can write it. So you can find out all the information you want about our Python SDK in our GitHub. So TryCourier /Courier Python. It is published to PyPy. So we got a nice little link over here. And you can install it just by doing pip install TryCourier. So great. And then also, this is an open source SDK. So if you would like to clone the repo, make some additions, submit a pull request, we're always happy to look through those. I believe this is one of our repos, where we actually had an outside contributor help us out. So we're very appreciative when the community helps out like that. So let's look at these scripts. All right, so in my VS Code, I've gone ahead and created some scripts. I have it all set up in a virtual environment. I went ahead and sourced my .m file because, again, I don't want to expose my access token. I have a problem with doing that. And so one of the things that we built in to our SDKs is if you create an environment variable called courier_auth_token, and it's documented in the README, then we will pull that one in for you because we don't want people to accidentally upload their tokens to GitHub or somewhere else, share it, because it's never good to let people it's never good to let people send on your behalf, I guess. So this is the Get Brands script using the Python library. I've done some things to include a pretty printer because we're just going to console log these out. And so this is just as simple as calling Get Brands on the client that we create. And so if I go over here and I say Python Get Brands, it pulls back a lot of information. It's still kind of ugly, but we can kind of see there's a lot of stuff in here. Let's go up to the top. Wow, let me Will this look better? Okay. So you can kind of see all of the stuff that came back. There's a lot of things. Oh, I went too far as part of it. So you can see that we've got paging. We got the results. You can see the default brand has come back with settings. And there's going to be one of those for each brand. So that's that. I'm going to move this back over. So that's how we can get all of the brands. We can also get a specific brand. And so the brand that Nate created for me was this Treva primary brand. I'm going to clear this real quick. So we are going to set the brand ID, and we're going to call client.getBrand. Pass in that brand ID, and then we should just get back only information for that brand. So if I run Python get brand.py, yep, I type Python. Not a thing. All right, let's try it again. Okay, so here is, it returns a dictionary of all the information about that brand. So you can see in our settings and our colors, here's our primary colors, information about the footer. You can see here's the Facebook link. And so you can do different things, bringing that back to maybe display it in your own app, what have you. And then where it gets interesting, I think it gets interesting, clear that again, is whenever you create a brand. So we do have a route that allows you to create a brand. Again, we create our Courier client, not putting in anything. We'll grab the access token from your environment variable. And then we can simply call client.createBrand. We need to pass it that ID that we set up whenever we created the Treva Elite brand. We give it a name, and then we give it two pieces of information. So we give it settings, and we give it snippets. So for the settings, and you can find all of this information, how it's laid out in the API documentation. We're just simply giving it a dictionary that contains the colors, so the primary, secondary, tertiary, and then information about the email. So setting up the header and setting up the footer. And then you can pass in, links to your images, colors in hex format, information about your social media. And then the same thing with snippets. You can pass it an array of items where each item is a snippet. You can choose the format of the snippet. Right now, we just handle handlebars, but in the future, our snippets could handle other types of templating languages. But for right now, it's just handlebars. So you give it a name, you give it a value. One thing I like about Python is you can use these this triple equal string, and that will take into account spacing and everything, so you can kind of make it nice, look nice in code. So it's not just like one big block of text. And then we run create. And so the brand that we're creating now is another fake brand that we have. It's called FoxHub. Nate, what is FoxHub?
I think it's a task management tool.
Okay. Well, we'll learn more about it here in a minute.
More importantly, to point out, everything that you can do in the web UI, you're doing here through the API. So there's parity there.
Yeah. So if you walk through and created a brand in the UI, like all of these settings make sense to you. So I'm just going to go ahead and run Python create brand. And that's going to create the brand. It's going to spit back a dictionary of the brand that you just created. But if we go back over to our Courier instance, and I think I'm going to have to refresh this. You can see that we have a new brand here. So this FoxHub brand came up. That's always nice to see. So it's got a nice logo. We've got our 3 colors. We've got our social media. And then we also have our snippet. So we have a tagline snippet for this brand.
Yeah. And then someone who's not using the API could edit these. So
yes. Oh, yeah.
Also really
yeah,
cool.
Exactly. So you can get, maybe you're in a situation where you get somebody 99% there, or you've added all of your brands and maybe a month or two down the line, one of your brands is changing. Instead of having to run a script again, you can just have somebody go into the Courier interface, make whatever changes, and then you're done.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going back and forth between the two options.
Yeah. So if you start in one, you can finish in the other, or vice versa. Your brands are going to be available either way. So let me clear that. But if you do need to make maybe a big change, or you want to do it programmatically, we do have replace brand. So hanging off of the client, you can just call client.replace brand. Again, you're going to give it a brand ID. So that's the one that you're going to replace. You're going to give it the name and then the settings and the snippets. So very, very similar to how we did it before. I think in this one, I just swapped the primary and secondary color, just made a small change. But you could probably imagine using the get to pull out the information, make changes to it, and then pushing it back up. So I won't run this one because we have the brand the way that we're going to want it, or the way that we're going to use it. And then we'll just touch on the last kind of operation that we have is, of course, the delete. So if you need to programmatically delete a brand, you can do that using the brand ID. So here, if we wanted to delete the Fox Hub brand, you just pass it the brand ID that we set up, and you just call client.delete. And this does return the 204, but in the backend, it doesn't return a value. So you can just run it, and then I just printed out a nice little message. So now we have, in my account, we have 3 different brands that we can play with. So maybe let's create a notification and try sending it out.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go back to the notifications part of the designer, and we're going to create a new notification.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move my notes here. All right. Oh, well, that's good. I'm going to refresh.
Reload, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're going to try this again. So from the notifications, we're going to hit create notification. Hey, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So first, I like to start by giving my notification a name. And that name is, what kind of notification are we building today, Nate?
Let's see here. I think we are doing since we're talking about a travel company, we're doing a confirmation for booking. Okay.
So we'll say booking confirmation. And this isn't going to affect it programmatically. It's just something nice for you to see whenever you go into the notification view of all your notifications. And then you can also tag them in the notification view as well. So other ways to make it easy for you to find it. For this notification, I think today we're going to focus on sending an email. And so I'll go ahead and select email because I've sent multiple notifications before using SendGrid. It's already set up, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that. And now we can go over and click on our email channel and start building it. So again, Nate was nice enough to give me some things that we can just kind of copy and paste in. So we'll start by adding a new text block. And we'll go in here and we will paste in our nice little kind of greeting. So I'm going to get rid of that and paste this in. You'll notice that we're using variables, and those are highlighted in green in the text block. So whenever we make a call to Courier for this notification in the data section, we're going to pass over name, company, and a confirm code. So that's great. And then we also talked about using the tagline, right? In one of those snippets. And so to use the tagline, we need to come over here and we need to select this new template block. And so this gives us a template block that we can design using handlebars. And again, I have that I can copy and paste in. So I'm just going to get rid of everything. And to call a snippet, we just need to do a double curly. We need to do a greater than sign, and then the name of the snippet. So our snippets are called tagline. Cool. See, was there anything else that we were going to add to this? I think we need to add a subject. So I'm going to add a subject, and so I'm going to say booking confirmation for, and I'm going to use a variable in here because we can also use variables inside of a subject line.
Also, the from email is not set, it looks like, but you can do that. I mean, you can control that.
Yeah, that can be controlled. Like I said, this was this account is used to send those turnip reminders, and so that's what I have my from address set for. But you can change those and set those up to what your domains are.
Right.
Okay. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and hit publish changes because that's something that I always forget to do. So that's published. Now we can actually preview it, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to hit preview. And because this is our first preview and we don't have any test events, I'm going to go ahead and create a test event. And I did create one ahead of time that I'm just going to copy and paste in. So I'm going to take that out. And so this is just JSON, and this really mimics what you send to the send API. So we're passing over our data that has a name, a company, and a confirmation code. And then we're sending over profile information, which has the email or the email address for this notification to go to. So I'm going to create that test event. And so now we can see this is what it looks like with my default brand. But we can go over here and we can preview it in our different brands. So our regular Treva brand. All right. So you can see everything's filled in using that test data. We've got the header and footer for Treva, but we can also preview what it looks like for Treva Elite. You can see, I think this changed. I wasn't paying attention. But we have the Treva Elite logo.
Yeah.
We got the different branding colors. Great. And then if we switch it to Fox Hub, we can view it on what it would look like with the Fox Hub brand. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we want to, I guess, let's send it for real. Let's see what it looks like for real. So we're going to go back over to the Python. I have one more script set up, and that's using our Python library to send the message. So you can set which brand ID we're using. So first we can send it using Treva Elite. We pass in an event. We pass in a recipient ID, some profile information. If your profile information is stored in Courier, this is completely optional. We'll look it up based on the recipient ID. You pass in the brand ID for which brand you want to brand the message with. And then all the information in the data. So this looks a lot like what we put into the test event, except here I'm randomly generating an 8-character string that kind of looks like a confirmation code. So I'm just using a little bit of Python to do that. And then this will print out a message ID if we're lucky. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here, and I'm going to do Python send brand. And we got a message ID back, which means we can go over here to our logs. So we can check out the logs and let that refresh. You can see that a notification came in for trip confirm for my recipient. But you'll notice that it was undelivered. And so if we go in and take a look at this, we can see we received the event. I think this is really cool because whenever you make a call to our API, you can see everything that you sent over. So like, was it something I spelled wrong? Did I send over the wrong event? Did I put the wrong email in? It's really great for troubleshooting as a developer like myself. But then we can go down here and see not delivered. And the reason why is because there's no notification map to this event. So an event can be the notification ID, which is a I think it's like a UUID string, but something that we generate, or it could be an event, which is something that you create. So I like making my events something kind of human readable. So I did this trip_confirm because I think that feels like a constant value. But if you do that, you have to map it to a notification so Courier knows where to send it. And once you send one and you get an event for it, you can map it as easily as just clicking this button. It automatically puts the ID in there, and then you just select. So I'm going to select booking confirmation. I'm going to hit save.
The other place that you can do that is in the settings, though.
Right. So if you go down here and you click on this settings and then events, you have all of your mapped events here, and you can just create a new one.
Yeah.
So let's go back and send this again. And so I'm going to hit send brand again. We're going to get a different message ID. Message IDs are good. It means that something's happening. And we'll go back into the logs, and I'm going to close this one. All right, so we have another booking confirmation notification come in with my recipient. You can see that we see the little SendGrid logo on here, and the circle means that it has sent. So I won't go into that. We'll just zip over to Safari, and we'll check my mailbox. Hey, here is our booking confirmation. Nicely branded with Treva Elite. Cool. So let's go back and we'll send another one, but this time we'll change it. And I think I'm going to make sure I grab the right brand ID. Yeah, all caps Fox Hub is what I did. So we'll go over here and we'll change the brand ID here.
Is it case sensitive?
You know what? I'm not sure if it is. I'm erring on the side of caution, and just because I put it in as all uppercase, I'm going to put it in as uppercase for here. But that's something I'm definitely going to check with our engineers and see if case sensitivity is a thing for this. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to change the brand ID, so I'm not changing anything else about this script, and I'm going to run it again. Okay, and so we've got another message ID, which means we're going to have another log event. Cool. So you see that the new one came in. Again, the provider chosen was SendGrid. The circle means that it was sent. But if you come back and look at the one that we just sent, you can see that the circle is almost filled in, and that means that it was opened. So in Courier, you can come back and see if somebody actually opened your notification. Which is nice. So let's go back over and we'll take a look. And so this is threaded because it's the same subject line, but we'll go ahead and hit show. But we got a new notification, and as you can see, branded with Fox Hub.
Cool.
And all we had to do was change that brand ID.
Nice.
So that's,
it worked.
Yeah,
Good job.
It worked. Hey, we did it. So just to recap, in my demo environment, we created 2 extra brands. Nate already had one created. And one of them we created using the API, which is pretty cool. And then we created a notification to use those brands. And then we sent it. And we sent it using a couple different brands. And all we had to do is change that brand ID. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you could go into the snippet, you could change the brands, make edits. You don't have to change the call that you send. It will send the same brand with the new updates.
Yeah. So for your developers, if you are a designer designing the notifications, your developers typically only have to write this code once, and then everything is changed inside. Because we're using an event ID, you could go in and create a whole new notification and change that mapping, and you don't have to change anything into the code. So I think that is also really cool and very powerful.
Yeah.
But this is what we wanted to show today, and I think we did it in a timely manner. If you have other questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I think using the intercom inside any of our websites is a good way to reach us. You will likely be answered by me or Nate or even Troy. So come with our questions. Be sure to give Courier a try. It is free to sign up, and you get 10,000 messages a month for free. And if you have any problems, again, you can reach out to us through Intercom. But we'd love to hear if you watch this video. Let us know if there's anything else that you'd like us to walk through, and let us know what kind of messages you're sending.
Awesome.
Yeah. Look for us next week at the same time with a new Courier Live. But if you haven't done so, be sure to subscribe so you'll be alerted when we go live. I think that's all I have. Anything from you?
Nope. Thanks a lot, Adrian. This was fun.
All right. Yeah, this is great. We will see everyone later.
See you later.